What's up, guys? Welcome back to the To Be Better podcast. We are the Chris's. We are going to be doing a, quick reaction video today. We have some things that we want to discuss and just some basic content. This will not be an email Q&A or anything like that. This is purely for entertainment purposes today. So would you like to say hello?
Hello, everybody.
So we are doing a new layout. Normally with these cameras, I have to take the SD cards out, put them into Premiere and edit them. I'm trying to do everything from a Stream Deck today. So hopefully I am man enough to be able to keep up with the conversation, the video, and the Stream Deck and not ruin all of this. It's first time. Go easy on me.
Good luck.
Yeah, I'm going to need it.
I have faith in you.
Yeah, you want to just jump right into this?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So let me go back over here. So we're going to be going over this. This is a video that we posted both to TikTok and to our clips. And I want to play this, and then I want to go over some of the comments that I've gotten on TikTok because we gave really good information. And instead of, there's always going to be people that are like, it doesn't work,
right?
Whatever, but we got some actual questions. So, all right, let's go with this. Doesn't take a lot. All you got to do is send that text message. Hey, I got a surprise for you tonight. Oh yeah. What is it? Guess. That's it.
She's not just going to guess one thing. She's going to rattle off a whole bunch of shit.
And you can start making notes.
Yeah.
This is date number 2, date number 3, date number 4. And she did all the work, and you're going to get all the credit.
Yeah.
Big brain shit.
It's also easy for women to make sure that roommate face thing doesn't happen.
It really is. Men are such simple creatures.
Literally just put on a t-shirt and heels and wait for him to walk into the bathroom.
The under butt cleavage. Oh my God.
I thought this man was going to faint.
I pulled my phone out and took a picture of your butt.
You did. It's not hard. It's little moments like that. There's times where I go out of my way. Like I'll start doing a task. I'll be like, okay, but how can I make it sexy? And I do it because I know you're going to get a kick out of it.
Yeah.
It'll either be a funny moment for us or it's going to be like a damn, that's mine.
All right, so you guys get the point there. Now, I got a lot of comments off that TikTok video, and I screenshotted them. So I'm going to read them, and then some of them you may actually have to respond to.
Okay.
But I'm going to read them and just kind of go as we go here. So the first one said, what if the husband doesn't even look at you like that anymore? You try to be sexy, but nothing.
You're just going to let it slide?
Well, what else could they do if they believe that their husband doesn't think they're sexy anymore?
Right.
How do they fix that?
You have to have a conversation about that. If you're noticing that your partner's not as into you as they were, there's a reason. It could be depression, work overload, overwhelmed, burnt out. It's going to sound super shitty, but maybe you've put on some weight. That was one of the reasons that one of my partners stopped being attracted to me. I went up to, like I've said before, 320 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, that changes. The weight itself doesn't change, but it changes things in the relationship. Whether people want to admit that or not. Weight is certainly a factor into... Oh, God. I said that, and just in the back of my mind, health at every size, moving's going to get you.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. They probably are going to come after you pretty hard for that because you can't just accept the fact that being big is unhealthy.
Yeah.
And let's be honest. Everybody gains weight in relationships.
Yeah.
They say that that's a sign of a healthy relationship. Healthy is probably not the right word for it.
Right.
But they say that if you gain weight in your marriage or your relationship, it's because you're comfortable in your relationship. So if that's the case, maybe it's time to get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that could be a part of it. We also have talked in the podcast in the past about if you are controlling or if you are nagging and you have that mom thing going on with your old man, he's not going to have a physical attraction to you or that intimacy. Men are not attracted sexually to their mothers.
Right.
So that could be a thing as well. I'm going to go to the next one. My husband isn't drawn to physical attraction at all. I could walk in a room naked and he wouldn't even look twice.
Was that always the case? Right? I'm sure when you guys first started dating, he didn't ignore you that way. I would put money on that.
I actually commented on that. It says, doesn't sound like an enjoyable way to live.
Right.
I would think that if I ever stopped getting the compliments from you, I would ask you, like, am I not attractive to you anymore? If I gained weight, like, am I just getting old? You know, what's going on right now that I'm no longer getting those compliments? Am I not giving you enough emotional support? Am I not around enough? Like, something's not right because something's changed. And knowing that something has changed, a conversation needs to happen in that aspect.
A lot of people can't handle that conversation, though.
Yeah.
They can't have the accountability of, oh, you're not giving me compliments anymore because I won't stop bitching about socks in front of the hamper. Well, you need to stop being lazy and treating me like your mom. I'm not going to pick up your clothes. When in all reality, there are people out there who are getting cheated on, and you want to bitch about clothes on the floor.
Yeah. Next one said, it's easier to be sexy with no kids around, but I definitely need to get more sexy for him, but confidence is trash.
Then work on your confidence.
How?
Stop comparing yourself to other women. I did that a lot. My self-esteem was at its lowest when I would look at every other woman and say, wow, they look better than me.
I think it's important to remember that when you get into a relationship with somebody, there is a physical attraction there.
Right.
And even though that may change, clearly with the comments that I've read up until now, you need to remember that your partner was into you or that you would have never started dating.
Right.
That physical attraction was there at some point. So remember that. And if you think that you've let yourself go or you think something has changed in your relationship, talk to your old man and find out what he thinks is sexy, because that could change too. You know, things that you're super into 20 years ago, you're not going to be into in your 20 years from now. It's going to be an evolution. We're going to grow and change. Like, I like the classy getup. I love seeing a woman in a dress and heels. When I was younger, I didn't give a shit about that. You know, it was all about booty shorts and
right.
You know, that whole thing changes. You got anything else on this one before I go on? Okay.
No.
The trying to be sexy only works if your man actually has a reaction to it. Mine just sits there.
I don't have anything to say back to that. This is the life you're choosing to live. If you're just letting your man slide without giving you compliments or not giving you attention when you're nude, I would have a problem with that. Yeah. And if it's just, this is how I am now, like we've been married for 25 years, no, that's complacency.
Yeah. So I have two more of those comments, and it's the same thing. The last one said, I wish I could get that reaction from my husband. He could care less. It blows my mind that people are in a marriage and are not actively working to keep intimacy and attraction alive. You get into that roommate phase and everything becomes complacent and it's normal. And that sucks to say that that's normal because it happens to everyone. But when you actively work on keeping yourself physically fit or, spending that extra hour or two a week doing something that you truly enjoy to make yourself feel good so you're not run down and exhausted all the time, and you have your hobbies and he has his hobbies and you guys have some hobbies together and you get a little bit of time to miss each other and you are actively working to keep each other going, you're going to have a much better relationship than just kind of living together.
Right.
So,
I don't know. For the dudes that are categorized in that, where you don't look at your woman anymore, put your phone down.
Yeah.
I thoroughly believe Instagram and TikTok and Pornhub, all of that is just ruining relationships too.
Oh, I agree.
If a man is putting his face in his phone and giving women on the internet more attention than they're giving their wife or their girlfriend in real life, you're part of the problem.
Right. I agree with that. All right, let me pull up another video here. Do it like this.
I would say that we talk about he comes to the final decision because we don't always. The final decision is always his. I don't want the final decision.
But do you appreciate in the modern day and age where men and women as a couple will sit down and have that discussion together and come to a mutual agreement?
But you're making it sound like I don't sit down and discuss.
No,
we do that. Traditional people do that.
All right, I'm going to pause that right there because this is something that I want to actually have a discussion about because we literally just made a video about this last week about final decision making and the way that works. And she said that people want to act like people in a traditional marriage don't have a discussion. We have discussions about everything.
Right. And they're in-depth conversations too.
Right, because I don't want to do something that's going to take away from you.
Mm-hmm. We'll have 2 to 3 hour conversations sometimes.
Right.
Sometimes it'll go over multiple days if it's about finances.
We've had conversations going for weeks.
Mm-hmm. So this whole, can you appreciate that the modern day man and woman can sit down and discuss it? Like, what does that say? What society truly thinks about traditional relationships?
Right. So on top of that, when we have these discussions, excuse me, when we have these discussions and you tell me your opinion on things and I have the final decision-making ability,
Right.
I'm going to throw an example out there. And this came from somebody in our Patreon group. Plug our Patreon group, I guess. He messaged me today because we were talking about this and he was like, I think it's important that when you have this discussion the next time when you're on a podcast to put it like this. And I said, okay, and I read it. And he said that if you and I were wanting to buy a car or you were wanting a new car because you didn't like the color of yours or whatever the case may be. And I just opened a business and I was financially strapped at the moment and we couldn't just go buy you a car. It would be my duty to know that you want to buy a vehicle, to tell you no because we're not financially there right now, and then make that a priority so that that's on the top of my list of things to do because I know that you want a new car and I handle the finances.
Right.
So it's not, sorry, this is going to take a whole lot of use to getting
Yeah.
the button switching thing. Especially because I never know when you're going to jump in with more than a right. So I'm like, do I push the button? Do I push the button? So that was a scenario that he actually had dealt with at one point. And he's like, so even though I had control and final decision making, I knew that that was a priority to her and she really wanted it. So I had to make that work for her. And I think that it's important to notice that this woman says that her husband has final say in their relationship, but he heavily listens to what she has to say because they're together.
Right.
It's about growth and it's about trying to take the best possible scenario and go. There's more to this video. Are you okay with me just jumping right in or you got something you want to add to it?
I just wanted to give another example of
Okay.
us having discussions about finances.
I asked that so that I knew to switch to you and not to the other camera.
Yeah. So that was an example. Me wanting a new car, making a priority and whatnot.
Yeah.
A real life scenario was I asked you for $40 to get a purse from Target.
Yeah.
And you said, no, we're not doing that. And you asked me where I wanted a purse from, like an expensive brand. I was like, well, I've always wanted a Louis bag. And you're like, give me 1 week.
Yeah.
You made the final decision of, in that moment, we didn't have the money for it, but you made it a priority. And in 1 week, you had the money saved to get me a new bag.
Right. It just had to remember to push the button.
Yeah.
It just comes down to knowing what's coming in, what's going out. And as a business owner, being a business owner is literally just moving money from one account to another.
Right.
It's making sure that you're able to take care of everything as it needs to be taken care of and then worrying about your distribution of profits afterwards. All right. So let's go back to this. Ooh, I'm getting efficient.
You don't just say, oh, the man's going to
No.
lead.
But you have just said that no matter what you have that discussion, he still makes that final decision.
Because if I say,
your opinion don't matter. Then
listen,
if your
right,
man's
my
making
opinion
a
does
final
matter, otherwise he
decision.
wouldn't listen to me. My opinion matters, and it's not all the time that women are always in this winning. All right, then, if you want to put it that way, it's not all the time that I lose.
Okay, so that comment was the reason that I saved this video so that we could talk about it. Some of these videos are going to be TikTok shorts that I downloaded, and I actually have one that's going to be regular screen. So as we go back to this, it's not always going to be up and down like that. If you live your relationship as a win or a loss with your partner, you will always lose.
Right.
If you believe that you losing and them winning is a loss, and you believe that you winning and them losing is a loss, you still lose. There's not a win-loss scenario that is beneficial to both people.
Right.
You either win together or you lose together. And that's a problem. Those young women on that show were like, well, then when do you win?
What really got me was that girl said, so your opinion just never matters. Babe, you don't have to be in a traditional relationship to have that dynamic in a relationship nowadays.
Right.
How many women out there not in a traditional relationship is never heard in their own relationship with their man who does whatever he wants? No. That really infuriates me.
Yeah.
Because I'm told that I'm a slave and I'm brainwashed because you have final decision making. I gave you final decision making because one, you've never shown me that you will make an irresponsible decision. You always factor in how it's going to affect us in 3 months, 6 months, and a year. And we always have discussions about it. And there are times where I'll say something to you and you're like, damn, you're right. Like, we do need to hold off on this, or now's not the time to do this.
I mean, the perfect example of that is a stupid ass podcast room that we're sitting in. I don't mind the setup that we have right now, but I really want recliners and tables and shit. And though I could probably make it work and it not hurt us, I don't want my financial cushion to go below a certain point.
Right.
And knowing that I'm about to have to spend $30,000 on a build out for the unit to like get that space taken care of, I don't want to spend the money. But the obsessive compulsive in me is like, I could just order that shit, get it done, and not have to worry about it anymore, and then I won't dwell on it. But you were like, babe, we just went through this. Like, just give it 2 weeks, give it a month. And if you still want it in a month, we'll do it. And in that aspect, like, you've given me your blessing. You just want me to wait a little while. And because of the way you laid it out, like, you're not wrong, because I'm going to end up getting stressed out because I spent another $7,000 that I didn't need to spend on paint and chairs and tables and, all that other shit, because I'd have to redo all of the room, new lights. I'd actually, I could do the paint in here, but I would rather just pay someone to do it so I don't have to worry about it.
Right.
But all right, let's go back to this. Would you like to? Do I need to switch back to you?
Yeah, I just want to say one more thing before you keep going. In the final decision making, I don't want to be the final decision maker. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. If a person truly understands what it means to have that final decision, there's a lot of weight on your shoulders with that.
Constantly.
You could make a purchase that could completely screw us in 6 months, and then we're trying to figure out how to make ends meet.
Right.
That's a lot.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown. All right.
Sometime I might win, but at the end of the day, the final decision's his.
Okay.
So when do you win then if his final decision is his?
I don't want to win. It's not about winning because it's never
don't
a
wanna win.
competition. It's never a competition.
No,
And
I
that's
agree
what
with
women fail to
competition.
realize.
I agree with that.
It is never a competition
Brittany,
because there is no decision that my man would make that will put me at a detriment. I would say that we talk about
Nope.
he comes to
Nope.
the final decision because we don't.
She said it's not about winning. That girl went,
Yeah, that smirk on her face.
I feel bad for whatever relationship, any man she gets with.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, because it's going to be a constant power struggle in your house, no matter what it is, because she needs to feel like she needs to win.
Right.
That woman said, my man would never do anything to put me in a detriment. That is a successful relationship.
It is.
That is a man that you can trust to lead because he's taking care of his family and taking care of his household. I've been watching you the entire time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I forgot to hit the button. So you were just sitting there looking all good with your red hair.
Oh, stop it.
I don't know. I have more of these that I want to go through. One of them is going to be a little bit longer than the other ones, but
You know what really gets me? They turned that
Me?
whole thing. Ooh,
I really get you.
yeah, you do. Oh man, I'm nervous. There was something on my dress this whole time. Wow. So, oh god, they turned that whole thing into a situation of winning an argument when final decision making is not that.
Right.
It really blows my mind that those women believe that every discussion about a decision needs to be I win this.
That's what I was getting at.
Wow.
Could you imagine I wanted to do something and we had a small argument about it? Or let's switch the roles. Let's say that you wanted to do something and we had a small argument about it and I didn't have the final decision making. And I said, look, we don't really have the finances for that right now. And you threw a tantrum. I really want it. I know you can make it work. You always do, blah, blah, blah. And then we have a fight over something that could have just waited a week or 2 weeks until
Right.
we were in a position to level up. How would that go in terms of long-term relationships before a man finally goes, I'm not even wanting to have this conversation with her because all she's going to do is argue with me about it. She's going to make me feel like shit. She's going to make me feel like I'm obligated to do something. She's going to manipulate me by saying you always make it work and doing things like that versus going, okay, babe, I hear you. We're not financially there right now. We can do this in a week or two, but I would like you to make it a priority.
Oh, are you asking me a question?
No, I want to hear your thoughts on that. Like how, yeah, I guess it was a question, but I probably could have framed it better.
I totally zoned out because I was picturing your pecs under your shirt.
No one can see it, just you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry. What was the question?
In a scenario
Yeah.
where you wanted something and I was like, we don't really have the money for that right now, or let's just wait a week or two, and you threw a fit. I want it right now. I know that you're capable. We have the means, even though it may set us back, but I know that you're capable of handling things. You always take care of me and make sure everything is right. And you throw a full on fit, manipulate me, make me feel guilty, and throw a tantrum to get what you want. And then I give it to you and it puts me in a really bad spot. And then I have to play catch up.
Right.
How long do you think that'll be before men stop going, I don't want to talk to her about this. I don't want to have the conversation. I know she's going to make a big deal out of it. I know that she's going to try to manipulate the situation to get what she wants instead of just being civil and understanding where we're at right now. How do you think that's going to affect a relationship long term?
Well, first I want to start with, so I would throw a tantrum to make you spend money on me to make me happy and placate me.
Yeah,
Our 3-year-old does that.
that's true.
And in regards to the whole, how long would it take if I were a man 3 times?
Yeah.
It would take 3 times of that happening for me to go, okay, I'm over this. I'm not going to argue with you. And then that resentment's going to start to build. I wouldn't stay in a relationship from that first instance and the two afterwards. So that first 3 times. After that, I would have a conversation and say, this is unacceptable to me. And if it continued, like say behavior changed for 2 weeks, improvements, and it goes right back in, it'd be another conversation. I would maybe go a month before I'm like, okay, I'm done. We need to see other people.
Okay, so then just so that I don't have a mansplaining comment or any kind of stupidity in that, how would that conversation go? How should a man approach his woman in a way that she's going to not take offense to that? Because most men are very logic brain speakers, problem solvers, and most women are emotional brain. So in the event that was a problem for me and I came to you about it a day or two later after the fight, it's going to create another set of complications, which is going to just compile what's happening. So how do they approach that?
If I were a man and that was my lady, I would start it with, baby, I love seeing you happy. Your smile is one of the greatest things in this universe to me.
I love it when you talk to me like that.
I know you do. And then I would hit them with, I want to get you everything that makes you happy. My, what's the fucking word I'm looking for?
Priority.
I just said the F word.
You did.
Priority. A priority to me is your happiness. And I will do everything I can to make you happy. When you get upset with me, I wouldn't say throw tantrums because that would piss her off. I would say, when you get upset with me and you tell me things like, I know you'll make it work. You always make it work. I'm your princess. It almost makes me feel pressured, even though I know it's going to put us in a bad spot financially, to make you happy because that's what I want to do. Going forward, when I tell you just give me 1 week, I'll get you whatever you want, it'll make it less stressful for me and it'll make us have less arguments because I don't like arguing with you. I love you and I want to make you happy. Can we just do this one thing for me so I can make sure that everything is peaceful with us?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like logic to me. It really comes down to teamwork in that aspect, though. You know what I mean? Like, if she wants to have the things that she wants to have, he needs to not be stressed out all the time and not be worrying about everything all the time because it's going to put you in the roommate phase. It's going to absolutely create resentment, especially if you've got a blue-collar worker who's spending ungodly amounts of money on you to keep you happy, knowing that he's needed new Red Wing boots for the last 2 months and he's been putting it off because you've been spending kind of thing.
Right.
And that's obviously just a made up scenario, but those things happen to people. I don't know. You have anything else on this one before I move on to the next?
In that scenario, I think it also boils down to women understanding that instant gratification, if it puts your financials in jeopardy, is going to fuck you in the future.
Absolutely.
I am saying that as a woman who fucked her future spending frivolously. It's not worth it. Don't ruin your foundation because you want a new purse.
Right.
Don't lose your man because you want to keep having arguments because you can't get what you want when you want it.
Right. I agree. All right. So this one's a little bit different than the other ones.
All the time.
No, there's not specific.
Exactly
there are not specific grants for white males. What specific? No.
Why should there be?
Why should there be?
Yes.
They have higher suicide rates. That could possibly be one reason.
And then maybe there's high suicide rates because of all the privileges going their way, and they know that it's not equal.
And all the privileges. Excuse me, my brothers are white male.
Did she really just say that white men commit suicide because of all the privilege that they have and they know it's wrong? Let's keep going.
Okay.
So I'm
giving you another
but I'm saying I've had 2 brothers that tried to commit suicide.
And I'm giving you reasons why.
And I'm saying it's not, they didn't try to commit suicide because, and I'm not sorry, I don't try to bring in personal situations. I shouldn't have done that. But like, it's not because like they were thinking, oh, I have privileges. It's because life can be hard as a man. There's a lot of privileges offered to women that men do not get. And I'm giving you examples, but it's like, I'm asking you
with the white men and why they should be getting grants.
No, I said this is a privilege.
So this started off as a conversation about men and women privileges because that's her thing, and then race got brought into it, and now it's a white privilege thing. And I have actually had people tell me on TikTok that I am successful because I have white privilege. I'm a 7th grade dropout. I'm a convicted felon, and everything that I've got in life, I've worked tooth and nail for.
Right.
You know how hard it is to get a job as a young man with tattoos on your face who's a felon? And I'm not saying that that's anyone's fault but my own. I'm the one that made the decision to tattoo my face when I was a young man. I'm the one who committed the crimes that I committed. I'm the one who did everything, dropped out in 7th grade. That's nobody's fault but mine. But I had to fight tooth and nail along the way to get to where I am in life. And I'm very successful because I don't quit, because I have a work ethic, because I want it. I understand, this is going to catch so much flack. When you talk about white privilege, there is no affirmative action for white people. There's no quotas for white kids in colleges. There's not a lot of programs based off of ethnicity for white people at all. So when you want to talk about privilege, by definition, there are laws in place that benefit every race in America besides Caucasians. So where is the privilege? And, there's going to be people who are going to go, well, you guys have privilege because the system is ran by old white men that are voted into office. Well, we have Republicans in mass numbers who are Cuban, Mexican immigrants, black people that are African Americans, if that's what you want to call them. Most of those people that are running as Republicans just call themselves Americans. But you have all of these people that are running for offices, and instead of listening to what they have to say, they're berated. You're an Uncle Tom, you're this, you're that, and they're calling them all these names. And then when it's a woman or a Democrat being ran, it's a big hoopla. Like, now we've got this new thing going into office, or this new person. It's the first time anybody from that descent or that gender is ran in that state. We need to elect them, but it's not the same way when it's Republicans, because they're playing the race game and the privilege game. Do you have anything on that one?
I was just thinking, so you were talking about race and white privilege and stuff. By the time I was like 6 years old, I hated myself for being white.
Yeah, it's white guilt.
And school was a big factor into it. Hanging out with kids and hearing things that they would bring from their own families. As a 6-year-old, I did nothing wrong. Why are you getting mad at me as a 6-year-old because I'm white? Like, I've had grown people say shit to me as a child.
Yeah.
I don't know. There are certain people out there who are definitely awful when it comes to being racist, and those people deserve to have their teeth kicked in.
Right.
You don't have the right to judge anybody based on anything but their actions.
Right. And that's on every side of the fence.
Right, everything.
So you get people that are going to come on here, and there'll be people in the comments. I'm positive when this gets put on YouTube, we'll be like, well, black people can't be racist, only white people can be racist, because that's a narrative that's being pushed right now. And when you Google the definition of prejudice and racism, it doesn't define hatred from white people to another culture.
Right.
And we saw, and this is kind of off topic, but I saw a video yesterday that said that there was a college student who believed that evangelical Christians were the worst against gay people. And that is the furthest from the truth, but they won't have the argument of what the truth in reality really is, because in doing so, you have to talk negatively about Islam.
Right.
Where you have countries in the Middle East that will lock homosexuals in cages and set them on fire and burn them to death because they're gay, or throw them off of a roof, or stone them to death. And this isn't something that, happened 10 years ago. This is things that continue to happen today. But that narrative never gets pushed because it doesn't fit the agenda of the radical left and all the bullshit that's being forced down our throats to make everybody at odds.
I hate humanity.
I do too. I'm going to go back to this.
Okay.
That women get that men don't often get.
And privileges are given to people who are young as well.
What does that have to do with anything?
Because grants are given to people who are 18 to 25. So somebody over that, can they be like, oh no, that's not fair.
Okay,
grants are given to people all the time.
Grants are okay. Let's take quota.
Okay, so I'm going to talk on the grants thing. It does not matter what age you are. If you are trying to go into a field that is highly sought after, grants are super easy to get. We have talked in the past about the Mike Rowe Foundation. I'm a huge fan of that guy. He pushes really hard for people to learn a trade. And if you go to the Mike Rowe Foundation website, you can find grant information in your state for all the jobs that are super in need. So if you want to be a welder and you want to get a grant to go to school to learn to weld, and you go to the Mike Rowe Foundation website, it'll show you how to get those grants. It's all there. It shows you how to do it. So, you have to dig a little bit, but it's there. So it doesn't matter if you're 40 years old or 20 years old. If you have an ability to fill a job that is in high need, getting that grant is very easy to do. So that whole thing about it's easier if you're 18 to 25 to get a grant is bullshit.
Right.
You are more likely to get a student loan and a whole bunch of debt that comes along with that student loan from 18 to 25 because they know that you're gullible enough to sign a contract without reading the fine print or understanding what you're doing. That's why the student loan debt is so high on bullshit degrees that people don't need, that's not going to benefit society as a whole.
That's across all ages. So I'm giving you specific examples where women are benefited and men are not. So there are quotas. That's at any age that are given to women that are not offered to men. So I'm saying, give me an example of a privilege that is given to women that is not given to men outside of body count. Don't say sleeping around. One double standard that does not benefit women.
I'm willing to bet she's got nothing.
Got him.
I'm trying to think of like all of the different disparities that are there, and I could say that that's why grants are actually given
women get
to
3 times the amount of jail sentencing for the same crime that men do. Women can go to the police.
You mean men get given?
Sorry, reverse. Yeah. Men get 3 times the amount of sentencing for the same crime that women do. Women can go to the police and say he hit me, and they'll take him to prison.
Yes, that's true.
We've talked about this at length too, and because statistically proven, men will get a much harsher sentence than a woman, because when a woman is standing in front of a judge, she's not an overbearing threat the way that a man is.
Right.
And that comes down to societal expectations and the appearance of what a threat is, which is why when women abuse men or stab them or hit them or whatever the case may be, and the cops show up, the cops are less likely to take the woman to jail because the man is big enough to defend himself or to walk away or run, or whatever the case may be. I actually had a Dr. Phil clip that I deleted that I wanted to go over that talked about all that in length, but we've talked about that a lot, so I didn't want to harp on a dead horse. You got anything on this one?
No, everything you just said about men being told that, well, you could have gotten away, you could have restrained her and all that other bullshit, that just makes me angry.
Well, you can't restrain her. The moment you put your hands on her to stop her from attacking you, you are now the aggressor, and men will go to jail for that.
Right, it's a no-win situation for a man.
Right.
Either you're going to get killed or you're going to get arrested for defending yourself.
Yep.
You're going to get mutilated or you're going to get arrested for defending yourself. Right. It's a fucking joke.
We have a friend who got 187 stitches across his chest where a girl tried to cut him with a knife, tried to slit his throat, but she hit his collarbones instead. And the cops didn't do anything. They just let her go.
Didn't they laugh at him?
Well, no. She had already had domestic violence call out to him or like to her about all of this, and when they got there, they arrested her, but they let her go because she told them that he had her backed into a corner. If you have a knife in your hand and somebody tries to back you into a corner, you're not going anywhere. You have a knife in your hand.
Right.
You have the ability to stop an attacker. But we also know that she had been called. They've called the cops on her multiple times for attacking him, and dude was like 6'4" and she was like 5'2". If he really wanted to hurt that woman, he would have hurt that woman. The reach alone was enough.
So I'm asking, like, where?
But then all of that gets screwed when you add in a black person into there.
No.
So
Right,
when you're
but
coming
I'm
with
talking.
the-
But today, but see,
when
you're
you're
moving the
coming with
goalposts.
No,
because
but
we're
I'm saying it's
talking
very
about
different.
we're talking about gender right
Yeah.
now. We are talking about
But
gender.
I'm saying it's very different.
So if
because
we
I
want,
can only talk as a black woman.
But even
Right,
with
right.
black,
You just gave me the look like I need to pause this.
It infuriates me.
Right.
Does race affect things in society? Yes, it does.
It can.
It can. There are super shitty people out there who won't hire you because of your skin color.
Right.
That is wrong.
On the same side of that coin, though, there are people out there who are very qualified for a job who cannot get the job because they have a quota to meet
Right.
of another ethnic background. So that position goes unfilled and then goes to somebody who doesn't have the ability to do the job because of that quota.
I worked for a company that has quotas like that. I'm amazed that they're still running.
Yeah.
Back to the bringing in the race. She's specifically talking about being a female. And she said, well, I can't just speak on being a female because I'm black.
Right.
You're still a female, though. Women, as a gender, face certain things that men don't face. In that same breath, men face things that women don't face as a gender. Without bringing race into it, that is what she's asking. What are the struggles women have that men don't?
Right. And that's what they were trying to ascertain in this.
Right.
And they didn't have anything. The woman there was nothing there. I'm trying to think of something. There was nothing because there's not. There's so many things set up to make sure that everybody has equality,
Right.
that you have benefits and things available to you that men no longer have because they're trying to make things more even. But it's not about equality. It's about, a special. You want to be special. It's you know what I mean. You want something that other people can't have.
Very different.
Even within the black community, if a black man does something and a black woman does something,
it's not the same.
The treatment's different.
I also want to bring up the fact that whenever they start losing and by they I mean anytime that there's an argument like this, and people start losing the argument, they start deflecting and changing the narrative of the conversation to meet the goals that they're trying to have. You remember that video that you were talking about?
Yes, where that woman, it was actually Just Pearly Things asking a question of, give me an example. I believe it was in regards to the wage gap. She was like, give me an example of a field where this is a thing. And then one woman chimes in, well, as a disabled woman, no, we're not talking about disabilities and how they impact you being able to get a job. We're talking about how you being a female affects you getting a job in the workplace, or how there's a wage gap, not because of your disability, but because of your gender. And she kept going, well, you're discriminating. You're making this very hostile because you won't let me bring my disabilities into this discussion.
That's the next thing. So, and that's the way it goes. Now you're being hostile, or you're being aggressive, or you're attacking me. And they always want to use those terms and say that you're being violent. The things that you're doing could hurt people. And they use that narrative because it makes you not want to have an argument with them. My argument was if I was getting violent, you'd fucking know it because I would break you.
Right.
There's a difference between using harmful words or words that offend somebody, because offensive is a you thing. If you get offended, that's your fault.
Right.
It doesn't matter to me. If I say something that somebody doesn't like, I don't give a shit. You don't have to like what I have to say. You don't have to agree with it. That's the beauty of what we have in this country with the freedom of speech and the way things work. The difference between hateful speech and hateful actions are physical violence. And when that line gets crossed, then that's an acceptable conversation to have where, okay, that line got crossed. Now physical violence is a thing. But just saying some stupid shit like, you can't have that discussion about disability when we're talking about women and men. Well, now you're just being hateful and you're being hurtful and you're being aggressive.
Discriminating.
Right. Come on with that shit.
It's not that hard to have a simple conversation about things.
It is when they have talking points and not their own thought process.
You're right, talking points, what they've been fed through Facebook and TikTok. I understand that people do have their own personal experiences.
Right.
And at times those people can separate. Well, it happened because I'm disabled. It happened because I'm a female. It happened because I have a lower education. Whatever. It blows my mind that there cannot be just one simple discussion between people with these two separate thought processes. Like, they're almost scared of having their opinion changed or being proven wrong.
That
blows my mind.
It's because of victim mentality. When you can play the victim and you can be the woe is me, poor me person, it gives you a leg up in a conversation because now people feel bad or they feel guilty, and that's a thing. Do you remember that video we watched about the study of women who had scar makeup put on their face?
Yes.
And then went and tried to get a job, and before they did the interview, the guys were like, let's touch up your makeup real quick, and they removed it.
Right.
And the women didn't get a chance to see themselves, and they went in for the interview and said the person on the interview was very hostile. They said that they made comments about their scars and all this bullshit. When the scars weren't there, they wiped the makeup off completely.
The people interviewing had no idea that was even a thing.
Right.
They were just seeing this as a normal interview. They had no background information. These women went in there thinking they still had scars on their face. And we're going to say, yeah, I was being discriminated against because my face is messed up.
Because they wanted to come out and play the victim.
Blows my mind.
Let's give a real example. So if me and you was on the street right now, me and you, and you slapped me, is anybody...
I love when people from other countries say instead of right, because I say right all the time, like when I have that conversation, and I enjoy that. I know that that's really stupid.
No, I love that. That makes you happy.
Okay.
Gonna react. If I slap you, what's gonna happen next?
Yeah, it's a madness. It's a madness.
Example done then. That's the privilege that she's trying to articulate.
But the
and you're a
difference
black
is,
woman.
though, I am a black woman, and I could still get done for that. But also, there is the strength issue in there as well. So when a woman hits a man, but when a woman hits a man, so we all agree that men are stronger than women, yeah?
Of course.
Yeah.
If I hit you and you hit me, the effects are going to be very different.
Let's have an example.
That's the thing.
Okay, wait.
So she's acknowledging that there's a strength difference, but still wants to argue the point, well, you should just let me hit you.
Right.
Because you know it's not going to hurt as bad as if you hit me.
Right. That's exactly where that conversation's going.
Get out of here.
I don't believe in putting your hands on a woman. I believe in eliminating a threat.
Right.
So, if a woman's coming at you with just her bare fist and she's hitting you, push her to the ground and leave.
Right.
If she gets up and continues coming at you, or she's got a weapon, I'm gonna fight you. Like, I'm not going to let you do physical harm to me or potentially kill me because you've got a weapon in your hand and you think it's okay because you're a woman. It's not an acceptable thing. And we've been taught, my generation was taught, no matter what, you never put your hands on a woman. Younger generation don't have that, like, because they want the equality thing. So now everything is equal. And for the young men who see everything as equal, you put your hands on a young man,
you're gonna get messed up.
He may see your equality and fucking show you that equality.
This is a perfect example of how feminism is not about equal rights anymore. It's about women wanting special privilege.
Right.
Because you know I'm weaker than you, let me hit you.
Yeah.
There should be no consequences for that because it's not going to hurt as bad as if you were to hit me.
The whole time that I did that little tirade, I forgot to push the button again. This is going to take some getting used to. If only AJ was here to push the button for us. Oh, man.
That's the nuance of it.
Okay. Let's have an example. You go up and you punch Dwayne The Rock Johnson in the face. He's stronger than you.
I'm finished.
Yeah. Does anyone feel bad for you when you get hit back?
Nope.
Why do women get an excuse? If a weak man hits a strong man and gets hit back, nobody feels bad for him. Why is it that if a weaker woman hits a stronger man and she gets hit back?
No, say that again. So
before she says that again, I'm going to go back to that screen. You see all the gaps in their foam?
Yes.
It drives me fucking nuts.
Why?
My OCD hates it.
Yeah.
Like, I know that our foam doesn't cover every inch of the wall, and it's for a reason. I don't want it, because if it's not right and I see it in the video, it's going to drive me nuts. I'm going to have to do it all over again.
Right.
My OCD does not enjoy that.
She's getting ready to argue on the point, well, you just said a weaker woman.
Right.
She also just said a weaker man punching a stronger man. Nobody gives a fuck if that man gets hit back because he picked that fight.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, my gosh.
Yep. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Your stupid prize is going to be you're getting your face messed up. Get out of here.
A woman hits a man.
No.
Because your argument was strength. So you said women are not as strong as men.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, so if he goes up to Dwayne The Rock Johnson, big jack dude, and hits Dwayne first.
Yeah.
Nobody is going to feel bad for him when he gets knocked the fuck out because you shouldn't have messed with him. Why do women feel like it's acceptable?
No, they wouldn't.
Why?
In fact, I'll wake up and laugh because I'm stupid.
Yeah. and
that doesn't negate from the issue. I'm not saying that women should go around hitting men. Like, absolutely.
But
if you hit a man and he hits you back, you hit him first.
Yes.
But the point is, because he...
It's crazy to see her dance around like this.
Yeah.
I feel like someone's throwing like those little pop rocks at her feet and she's trying to dodge them.
Yeah.
He is stronger, the penalties are going to be harder.
But they shouldn't be.
The law sees you as equals, right?
It shouldn't be.
So she just said, she backpedaled and said that she's not saying that it's okay for women to hit men, but the penalties for men hitting a woman should be harder because men are stronger. That's her argument. That's insane to me. If you are trying to kill someone, it doesn't matter how you're trying to kill them, whether it be a brick, a gun, or a knife. You're trying to end someone's life. It doesn't matter how strong you are. It doesn't matter what you use. The intent is there. Same thing in that video.
The point is, it doesn't.
But why is it feminists aren't fighting for that? Equality
I don't care
in the
what
parts that don't
feminists
suit
are
them.
fighting for.
But the whole point was I asked you for a double standard that doesn't benefit women outside of sleeping around.
Okay, so I get that.
Yeah.
And the counter that I was offering is because there is the weakness of a woman, so when she hits a man, why it's not seen as impervious as a man hitting a woman, because there is the strength.
Yeah, but some women are strong, you know.
Can I ask you a question,
Yeah,
please?
he
looks way stronger.
But there's
than me.
nuance.
He looks way stronger than me, right?
Yeah.
If he hit you and I hit you, would I get less time or more time because he's stronger than me?
Both of you are men, and you both.
But he's
hit a
stronger than
woman.
me.
It doesn't.
But
the point is,
major
it
argument
doesn't
on
matter.
strength.
You're actually
You
like
made your argument on strength, not about men and women. It's more about strength.
So
because I'm the weaker one.
Yes, but I'm weaker than him. So is he going to get more time because he hit you?
No, it's going to be two black men, and you're going to be served.
But that's the point. That's the point. We're trying to make. It's not a.
So if I got mega jacked, right? Like I'm on steroids, all of it. And I go pick a fight with a man that's weaker than me. Should I be punished just as hard as a man who going after a weaker woman?
By her argument, yeah.
But then she would defend that because I'm a woman. I could have just been defending myself, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, her argument would definitely have changed. I enjoy these videos. Like watching them it's fun for me because I get to watch people like backpedal and change their narrative and try to like weasel their way out of their standpoint because it's so hard for people to just be like, oh, damn, you're right. And to just own
they don't want to admit they're wrong.
That they were wrong in the scenario and actually admit that they're learning something new. And she's now, I guess it's coming at her from 3 different sides technically, and she's still holding her ground, but she's holding her ground and backpedaling and trying to change the narrative of the conversation.
Right.
Instead of just when she was asked, what is one thing other than body count that is different between men and women in societal standards? There was nothing. She should have just been like, damn, you're right. And that would have ended the whole conversation. They could have moved on to the next topic.
About strength. It's about the fact
we're trying to say that you've contradicted your argument.
But how? Because I'm saying
it's not about
men hitting a woman.
Okay, so what about a woman who's like a bodybuilder? What if I was skinny? What if I was skinny and she was stronger than me?
And
she could deadlift, bench more than me.
Bro, there's some big women out there.
What happens then?
That nuance should be taken
But it
into
won't.
consideration.
Should be. It won't. Look what you're saying.
People will laugh and say you got punched up by a girl.
Exactly.
They'll be laughing.
Hold on. So what are we gonna do? So like, if a man and a woman are fighting, what are they gonna do? Put them both on the scale. What if she weighs more than me? Then what does it mean, bro? Then I'm.
That's actually exactly how that would go. I was trying to, I somehow got my mouse to the other screen and was like, why isn't this pausing? And OBS is going, hey, you're clicking things. In the event that a woman knocked a dude out,
Right.
that's exactly how that would go. Everyone that dude knows would be like, you got knocked out by a woman, bro.
Pussy.
Yeah, he would never live that down. But if he defended himself, he would
been
never live
arrested.
that down
Yeah.
either.
It's a no-win situation in a lot of situations for men.
Yeah. Your hair looks really good on that camera.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. Okay.
Knocked her out.
These days, that's possible.
No, but
What if she benches
I'm
more than
saying
me?
it shouldn't. That's sexist. I think like it should not. If you,
okay,
we should gender
but did
shouldn't.
we
No,
not
let
all
me
agree that
finish.
men are-
Let me finish.
Okay, go on.
I'm saying gender should not be taken into consideration. If you hit anybody, you should expect to get hit back, and the law should let
agree with you.
say that you are acting in self-defense. But I'm saying
100%.
that's not how it is.
I agree with you on that.
If I hit him and then you knocked me out, who would the police
Because
take into
it's
custody?
disproportionate, though.
No, but I'm saying if it was Dwayne The Rock Johnson sitting here and he hit Dwayne The Rock Johnson
And he hit him
and
back.
then he hit him back and gets knocked out, the police would ask questions. They wouldn't just assume.
Arguments like this is why Amber Heard can do what she did.
100.
Arguments like that is what Amber Heard can do what she did.
100.
Because you can't be saying that, oh,
Go ahead. I saw that look on your face.
I love that he said that. I love that. She tried to get away with so much shit. She cut that man's finger off
Yeah.
and tried to weasel her way out of it.
I didn't watch anything of
I
any
watched
of that trial,
the whole
so-
thing.
Yeah.
Oh
you
my
were,
God.
You were in it, huh?
I was. The whole case, she looked like a clown. Trying to claim domestic violence. Was Johnny the perfect partner in that relationship? Probably not. He might have defended himself a couple of times, but she was certainly an aggressor. And she was trying to paint this photo of, I'm just this pretty little princess and he's just so mean to me.
Didn't she shit in his bed?
She did.
When I was incarcerated, I shit in someone's pillowcase.
I love that for you. How did that play out?
He laid in it. Yeah. He laid down, plopped down on his bunk. You know, obviously it was in his pillow. It was kind of dry at that point, but it's still on the other side of that fabric. I was not a good human being for a long time in my life. So the argument that they were making about him and The Rock fighting, if dude hit The Rock and The Rock hit him back and knocked him out and the cops came and investigated that, he was the aggressor.
Right.
He hit The Rock defended himself. There would be no jail time for The Rock, even if he wrecked that dude and like shattered his face.
Yeah.
Because it was a hand-to-hand combat, no weapon involved, one punch, defended himself. That would be the end of it in most cases.
Right.
In the case if it was a woman where she hit him first and he hit her back, he would go to jail for that.
He would. Because he's expected to diffuse the situation.
Right.
Calm her down. Be responsible for her actions.
That's a no for me, dog.
That's a no for me too, and I'm a woman. Get out of here with this childish shit.
Get him, babe.
Makes me so angry. Be decent human beings. Be better.
It's not hard.
It's really not that hard. If your boyfriend is making you angry and you want to start throwing dishes at him, walk away.
Why would you want to be in a relationship with somebody that does that shit? Like, you know that that's not a healthy relationship and it's going to get so much worse.
Right. That's how people die.
I didn't really hit you, did I? It didn't hurt
I'm a girl, so
No.
it's
She
not
went-
gonna hurt you.
I didn't
but
close
I'm
my
saying
fist.
that's
You see what I'm
what's out
saying?
there.
I
That's
Or
don't
they'll
know
be
how
like, I
that-
can't hit as hard as you, but it's about the intent.
But
That's what it's about. Like, you knew you couldn't hit harder than me when you hit me. Do you know what I mean? And then you got a receipt for your purchase, and now what?
Do you know what
I'm saying? It doesn't make sense.
Sorry, we're using extremes to accentuate the point.
That motherfucker said you got a receipt for your purchase.
I was just getting ready to say that.
I enjoy that.
Oh. It's like a little hole punch on it too, just to verify.
Yeah, it's a, what do they call it, a rewards card?
Get that little stamp.
Oh, man. Fifth one's free.
You can't just say because you're a woman and, you know, statistically you're less strong than I am, that if you hit me, you didn't intend to hurt me as much.
I am given a reason for why the law
But that's
the way
not why.
it
No,
is.
that's not why. It's just because society coddles certain women. And
the law shouldn't be biased.
It's got nothing to do with strength, no?
It shouldn't. It shouldn't though.
It shouldn't. The law
Okay,
whether it does or not, we don't know whether it does. Probably it shouldn't.
You can say it shouldn't, but that is why it is there.
That's not true. I'm actually, this is just them arguing this point over and over again until the end of the video. They're not going to resolve the situation because they're going to basically agree to disagree. I don't think that there should be a bias. If somebody attacks you, you should have the right to defend yourself with lethal force. Lethal. And I believe that. So it doesn't, and like, as far as I'm concerned, it shouldn't matter where you live in the world. If somebody comes to you and attempts to do physical harm to you and you have a weapon, you should be allowed to use that weapon to defend it to the death. Because if that threat of very real physical violence and potential death was there, the act of violence would decrease by like 85, 90%. And then the only ones that would be left are the truly crazy, harmful people. And we would know that. And they would be the ones that are getting locked up and incarcerated because they're aggressors.
The whole time I'm just sitting over here thinking, like, if I were out with friends and say we were getting like mimosas at brunch and one of my girlfriends wanted to step up to a dude built like Dwayne Johnson and hit him and he hits her back, I would be, you dumb bitch.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to help you fight this man. You want a trip to the ER? Yeah, I can do that. I'm just going to berate you the whole time. What did you expect to happen? I am not going to stand up for you. I'm not going to defend you. I'm not going to say, oh, well, you should have never hit her. No, I am teaching my daughter, if you hit a man is going to hit you back. If you hit a boy on the playground, that boy is going to hit you back.
Yeah.
Do not pick a fight unless you're willing to have that fight.
Right. We're also teaching our daughter to actually defend herself against other people attacking her.
We are.
And we've had this conversation on TikTok and even on the podcast a couple times, I believe. I'm not one that's going to ever allow our daughter to get into a position where she has to get hit first. I don't want that. You get in a position where you feel like somebody's going to harm you, you fucking defend yourself. And you give it everything that you got until that threat is not coming at you anymore, and then you run. I'm a firm believer that the best way to avoid conflict is to get out of conflict before it happens. So in the event that you think there's an aggressor coming at you, you get out of dodge. You run, whatever the case may be. I don't care how you have to get away, you get away. That comes down to situational awareness. If I think something bad is about to happen somewhere where we're at, it's time to go, babe. Let's go. We're leaving right now. Because that's a lot easier than having to deal with something happening inside of wherever we're at and then having to leave while chaos is ensuing. So, the best way to avoid those situations is to not be there in the first place. But I also don't want our daughter to grow up and be a victim. I don't want her to have a victim mentality. I don't
Over my dead body will she have a victim mentality.
Yeah.
I was that way for a very long time. I am not going to let my daughter live that life.
Yeah. Do you think that your life has changed since your accountability has changed?
Oh, yeah.
You want to elaborate on that?
I don't wake up and hate the world anymore. I don't think the world has it out for me anymore. I recognize every choice I've made in my life has got me to the point I am now. Why was I a single mom? I'm not a single mom anymore. But why was I a single mom? Because of the choices that I made in my life. It is nobody's fault but my own. I could blame their father. I could blame my family. I could blame his friends. I could blame whoever I want to. But that's not going to resolve my situation. It's not going to change the things that happened in the past. Having the self-accountability that I have now and realizing sometimes I'm the fucking problem helps me prevent that in the future. I have a peace I've never had before in my life.
Do you think that makes you want to strive to work harder at being a better person because you know that it's your fault if something goes... Because that's the difference between somebody that plays the victim and wants to throw the blame and shade at everyone else and somebody who has extreme accountability that be like, okay, if I would have just done this differently, I would have had a different outcome. And when you look at everything that way, it's a very different scenario because you're looking at, okay, what's going to happen if I do this in 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 years? What are my decisions going to do? And when you have that mindset, it's no longer in someone else's hands. Everything that you're doing is yours.
Yeah.
It removes fate and destiny and really lets you thrive.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah. You got anything else that you want to talk about? I don't know how long this one's been. I don't have a timer anymore.
No.
Nope.
Oh, that whole debate just seemed pointless to me.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like it's talking to a toddler.
That one?
Yeah.
The one we just watched?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and that's the point of this. This is, so I know that like Fit and Fresh, he gets all those women who are from the dating apps that are all looking for, the top 3% of the population. And he gets people to come in to argue. And he tells them before they get on, we don't talk over each other. We're not going to be disrespectful. And like they have those conversations because it gets views. Excuse me. I am having an energy drink. It is carbonated. It's making me burpy. But having those conversations allows both sides to watch the video and hate on it. So the people who disagree with the men are going to hate on the men, and the people who disagree with the women are going to hate on the women, and it drives views and content.
Right.
That's what they're doing here. Pearlie has a very specific, intelligent. She's, whether you like Ben Shapiro or not, you don't want to have a debate with him.
Oh yeah, that's smart as hell.
You don't want to have a debate with Jordan B. Peterson. If they don't know, they're going to tell you, I don't know these things, I can't talk about it.
Right.
But if they know and you try to debate them, they are going to destroy you because they're both very intelligent men. Pearlie's smart, and she's got that giant tablet in her lap so that she can pull up all of her statistics. She's not going into this unarmed.
Right.
She's done her research. So when you have these conversations and you're trying to argue with somebody that's done the research, you're probably going to lose because the average person doesn't do the research to have these kind of conversations. They believe what they're told on social media. They believe what their friends are telling them or their parents or whatever the case may be.
Whatever the news outlets are feeding you.
Right. And they're not taking the extra 15 minutes to just Google it and see what's what.
Right. I would 100% have a tablet like that. If I know I'm invited on a podcast and that person has differing views than me, I want to prove them wrong on multiple levels, and I want to do it in a very accurate way.
Yep. So I people are gonna be like, I can't believe you just said that. I really enjoy reading. That's not the thing. That's not a thing. Everybody knows that I enjoy reading. I talk about it all the time. I enjoy autobiographies about great people, even controversial great people. And one of the most enjoyable autobiographies that I've ever read was the autobiography of Malcolm X. And for me, knowing that he hated white people most of his life, for me to say that just goes to show that like I don't give a shit. I really don't. Like, I want to know about the man. I want to know about his life. I want to understand his thought process, and reading his autobiography really helped me learn that. One of the things that he talked about when he was young was he was a debater. And when he went to jail, he got on a debate team and he got really good at it. But the way he got good at it was that he sat down on the other person's argument and argued it from their standpoint, and then did the research so that he could counter argue all those arguments. And he was a phenomenal debater. And that's how he got the attention of the Nation of Islam. And it built his career that way because he was a phenomenal speaker, because he was able to argue the points that people were about to argue with him because he already did the research.
Is that not how all people debate?
I don't know. I don't know. I obviously not.
I mean, well, specifically on a debate team, I just thought that was a common knowledge thing. But now speaking, I guess that is something to put in every discussion you could be having with someone with an opposing view. That makes most sense to me.
Right.
How can you argue factually if you don't know both sides of the coin?
Right. Well, and I mean these videos, I keep pointing to the TV so that you guys see me pointing. We have another screen over there that these conversations are those debates. They're just on a much lesser scale.
Right.
And they're always with somebody who has done all the research and then somebody who only has opinions for an aha gotcha. And it is entertaining. We watch them. A lot of people watch this shit. She's got over 1 million subscribers on YouTube. She's on her like 8th TikTok account because she keeps getting violations because people flag her because they don't like what she's saying.
Oh, it sounds familiar.
If you don't like what somebody's saying, there's a reason for it. Maybe you should listen and then research it. And if you're wrong, admit you're wrong. And if you're not, then you can argue with this woman because you've now done your research.
It's not hard. We've had people reach out to us, specifically to me, saying that I said something that triggered the hell out of them. And they were cussing me out in their head for weeks. I lived in their mind rent-free for weeks because I said something that pissed them off.
Yeah.
And then they realized, damn, maybe I can be the problem in some scenarios. Like maybe I yell too much. Maybe I'm nagging a point that happened 5 years ago. It doesn't matter anymore. I don't remember where I was going with that.
I mean, you nailed your point though.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what it is. You're triggering people, and they're doing the work to figure out why they're being triggered, and that's what should be happening. Instead, these people get on TikTok and flag the accounts and flag mass report, and they come together to try to cancel somebody.
Yeah.
Because heaven forbid you have a disagreement anymore. You can't no longer just disagree with somebody. Now, if you disagree with them, they have to go. You have to fall in line and be good little drones. But. Do you have anything else that you would like to talk about before we end this one?
No.
All right. Well, with that being said, I guess we will see you guys on the next one.
Bye, guys.